चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपकथं मह्यं ददति स्वपदान्तिकं। वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरुश्रीयुतपदकमलान् श्रीगुरुन् वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं सागरजातं सहगणरघुनतान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधाकृष्णपादान् सहगणललित श्रीविशाखान्वितांश्च। नमः विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रस्थाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्त स्वामिनिति नाम्ने। नमस्ते सारस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशधारणे। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासदि गौर भक्त वृंद। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। Reading from Śrīla Prabhupāda-līlāmṛta, Volume 2, Chapter 51, continuing. Let me know if you can see as well the text.
Yes, Roji.
Okay. Later, Srila Prabhupada spoke privately and in more detail with Adikeshava Swami. They told me that you had grown your hair, said Prabhupada. Adikeshava admitted it was so, but that he couldn't do it anymore. He said he wanted to go to court proudly and say that he was Prabhupada's son and proud of being a devotee. Prabhupada said that was also his desire, that Adikeshava go into court in sannyas dress and carrying his sannyas dand. He could have tilak and a shaved head, and he should preach. Srila Prabhupada told how people had advised him to wear western dress when he had first come to America. Adi Keshava had received recent letters from Prabhupada, but now Prabhupada told him face to face to bring all of the books into court and introduce them as evidence. He should boldly preach. Adi Keshava mentioned that an official in Indian embassy had said that the Indian government would give him asylum if necessary. Srila Prabhupada was pleased to hear this. When Adikeshava admitted that he was sometimes discouraged and alone in the prolonged legal struggle, Prabhupada said he could take other men with him to help, but the main backing Adikeshava required was from Srila Prabhupada. He wanted Prabhupada's mercy. And Prabhupada, like a father, gave solace and courage to his young, rather frail looking son who was going into battle. Don't be afraid, Prabhupada said. Repeatedly, he would call Adikeshava to his room to give him more mercy. Another logical argument, an instruction of how he could act in court. Prabhupada's essential advice, of which Adikeshava was not aware and convinced, was that he should preach. Krishna would protect him. Tamal Krishna replaced Satsvarupa as Prabhupada's secretary. Early in the morning on Satsvarupa's last day of duty, Srila Prabhupada called him in just after dictating his Srimad Bhagavatam verses and purports and told him that for breakfast he wanted cucumber, soaked moong dal, and fruits. He said he had just dictated some verses and purports dealing with transmigration, and he rewound the tape and played back the dictation. Philosophical arguments of Krishna's father Vasudeva trying to convince Kamsa about the eternity of the soul. Vasudeva argued that at the death, the soul changes from one body to another, just as a man walking down the street places one foot in front of the other. And Prabhupada, while listening, demonstrated by walking with two fingers across the dictating machine. Prabhupada's dictation continued. At the present moment, there is great opposition to the Hare Krishna movement, which is being called a brainwashing movement. But actually, the so-called scientists, philosophers, and other leaders in the Western countries have no brains at all. The Hare Krishna movement is trying to elevate such foolish persons by enlightening their intelligence so that they will take advantage of the human body. Unfortunately, because of the gross ignorance, they regard the Hare Krishna movement as a brainwashing movement. They do not know that without God consciousness, one is forced to continue transmigrating from one body to another. Now, the very same arguments that Prabhupada had spoken to sannyasis were immortalized in the Bhaktivedanta purports. In the future, after the court case has been finished and mostly forgotten, Prabhupada's true assessment of the situation would prevail. On Feb 22, 350 devotees arriving on a Boeing 747 Air India jet at Dum Dum Airport in Calcutta. The special flight, all devotees had flown from Los Angeles to New York to London, picking up more devotees at each stop. As it was the first landing of a 747 in Calcutta, the mayor, local militia, leading Air India dignitaries, and media people were on hand to greet the historic flight. One of the devotees told a reporter that the Boeing 707 coming from the west to Calcutta was the mercy of Lord Chaitanya and Srila Prabhupada. 10 busloads of devotees then rode to Mayapur. Soon the Mayapur Chandrodaya Mandir was teeming with transcendental activity. The Gaur Purnima festival was in full swing. The Vaikuntha players of New York staged an evening theatre performance of the Ramayana and Srila Prabhupada attended. The audience watched and appreciated Srila Prabhupada almost as much as they did the play. On the opening night of Pandal, a government minister attended to officially inaugurate the festivities. He cut a ribbon to open the new building, and he and his Srila Prabhupada walked together down the long first floor corridor and viewed a photo displayed of ISKCON center around the world. Halfway down the corridor, Srila Prabhupada stopped, shook his hand, and said, "It is all inconceivable." The minister was also amazed at the scale on which Srila Prabhupada was propagating Gaudiya Vaishnavism. Then Srila Prabhupada and his guest went on to the stage. The minister gave an introductory speech glorifying a well known impersonalist Swami, referring to him as a divine incarnation. He also slighted the name of Lord Chaitanya by saying that although he didn't know whether Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was an incarnation, he knew he had certainly done good in the world. Srila Prabhupada spoke next, using scriptural evidence to correct the erroneous opinions the minister had given in his talk. Srila Prabhupada spoke in Bengali, and most of his disciples could not understand, but they could appreciate the gist. Later, when Srila Prabhupada was sitting in his room with a few devotees, he began laughing. Smacking his fist into his left palm, he said, "I have smashed him." When Gaura Purnima, only about a week away, thousands of Bengali pilgrims were attending the ISKCON center each night. With they streamed into the temple room for Kirtan and Darshan of Radha Madhava and then went to see the ISKCON photo exhibit. It was the biggest and best organized Mayapur festival ever. Despite the opposition in America, Lord Chaitanya's movement was flooding the world with the waves of Sankirtan, and this gathering of more than 500 devotees from every continent was a powerful testimony to the good health of the growing Krishna consciousness movement. Rameshwar Swami returned with the latest figures of Prabhupada's book production. In the English language alone, Srila Prabhupada had published 43, 450, 500 pieces of literature, and the total production of Prabhupada's books in 23 languages, including Russian, was 55, 314,000, more than 90% of which have already been distributed. Rameshwar also presented Srila Prabhupada with a new book just off the press, the ninth canto, part 1 of Srimad Bhagavatam. Radha Vallabha reported that the next printing of Bhagavad Gita as it is would be so large that the paper required to print it would have to be carried on 76 train cars. Prabhupada and the devotees laughed at the astounding figures. Prabhupada thanked the devotees for their hard work. "This is the blessing of my Guru Maharaj," he said. "He wanted it, and because we are trying to do this, he is giving us all blessings." Srila Prabhupada continued to be very active, encouraging devotees, writing, preaching. Soon after, bus loads of devotees arrived. However, he became very ill again. His busy schedule became a strain, but he continued. The GBC member men began their annual 3 days of meetings, and each evening they would meet with Prabhupada. He heard their proposals and, after making some corrections, approved them. The final item on the GBC's list of resolutions was all ISKCON temples hold 24-hour kirtan in view of Prabhupada's sickness. The devotees had also done this in 1974 when Prabhupada had been ill. Yes, Prabhupada said when he heard the resolution, chanting is the only cure of all diseases. On Gaur Purnima, Srila Prabhupada accepted more than 200 disciples for first initiation and he awarded second initiation to 100 disciples. Huge crowds poured through the front gate all day, and from 4 p.m. until late at night, the roads would be packed with the kirtans, would attract large, receptive audience. In the afternoon, Srila Prabhupada received Tarun Kanti Ghosh, the Home Minister for Bengal, also in charge of the state police force. Prabhupada spoke with Mr. Ghosh in his room and found him very favorable toward ISKCON and Krishna consciousness philosophy. Srila Prabhupada had decided to stay on in Mayapur instead of accompanying the devotees from Vrindavan for the second hour of the second half of the festival. So some of the leaders came to his room to pay their respect before departing. When Harikesh Swami and Adi Keshava Swami entered together, Prabhupada told Harikesh that because the people in the communist countries were suffering so much, he should go and give them books without making them pay. Turning to Adi Keshava, he said he had placed much responsibility on Adi Keshava's thin shoulders, but that he should be victorious. So you are Harikesh and Adi Keshava, he said, the Kesha brothers. So go and preach, be successful. Srila Prabhupada similarly spoke lovingly with other GBC men as they departed for their assigned areas around the world. Within a few days, Mayapur was again quiet, with very few visiting devotees remaining. Almost 2 weeks later, when Srila Prabhupada was still in Mayapur, the news of New York court decision appeared on the front page of the Times of India. On receiving it, Tamal Krishna Goswami immediately brought a copy to Prabhupada in his room and, at Prabhupada's request, read it out loud. Hare Krishna movement is bona fide religion. Washington, March 18. The Hare Krishna movement was called bona fide religion yesterday by the New York High Court judge, who threw out two charges against the officials of the movement of illegal imprisonment and attempted extortion. The charge had been preferred by an angry parent that his son, as well as another disciple, had been held by the movement illegally and they had been brainwashed. The entire and basic issue before the court, said the justice in dismissing the charges, is whether the two alleged victims in this case and the defendants will be allowed to practice the religion of their choice, and this must be answered with a resounding affirmative, said Mr. Justice John Leahy. The Hare Krishna movement is a bona fide religion with roots in India that go back thousands of years. It behooved Merrill Krishover and Edward Sapiro to follow the tenets of that faith and their inalienable right to do so without will not be trampled upon. The separation of church and state must be maintained. We must remain a nation of laws, not of man. The presentment and indictment by the grand jury was in direct and blatant violation of the defendant's constitutional rights. The justice said that it appeared to the court. The people rest their case on an erroneous minor premise to arrive at a fallacious conclusion. The record is devoid of one specific allegation of a misrepresentation or any act of deception on the part of a defendant, the justice said. The freedom of religion is not to be abridged because it is unconventional in beliefs and practices or because it is approved or disapproved by the mainstream of society or more conventional religions. Without this proliferation and freedom to follow the dictates of one's own conscience in this search of approach to God. The freedom of religion will be a meaningless right as provided for in the Constitution. In attempt, be it direct, well intentioned or not, presents a clear and present danger to this most fundamental basis and eternally needed right of our citizens, freedom of religion. The Hare Krishna movement has been under pressure from various groups, and this judgment is expected to stop some of the harassment in which it has been subjected in recent months. My mission is now successful, said Srila Prabhupada. In 1965, I went there. This is now recognized after 12 years. I was loitering in the streets alone, carrying the books nobody cared. Swarup Damodar was present and he spoke with Prabhupada about the Bhaktivedanta Institute and about preaching in Manipur. And other matters came before Prabhupada's attention, but he kept coming back to the news from the New York. Our most auspicious sign is this, said Prabhupada. Hare Krishna movement is bona fide religion. Srila Prabhupada's plans were to move to Bombay. Tamal Krishna Goswami said a lot of senior devotees were gathering in Bombay. They had gone there from Vrindavan and were waiting for Prabhupada. I am therefore going, said Prabhupada. In spite of my so much inconveniences, I am going there. You want to stay in Bombay? Asked Tamal Krishna. How long? I don't want to stay anywhere, said Prabhupada. I want to work. Staying, I have stayed in big places, big cities. I have no other desire but to work. How long do you want to work in Bombay? Asked Tamal Krishna. So long as there is work, said Srila Prabhupada. There is no end of it. Our Bombay should be organized. Work is our life. There is no question of how long as possible. Krishna is giving us good opportunities. Now we should take it seriously. It is not a joke. Hare Krishna movement is bona fide religion. The devotees discussed about before Prabhupada the significance of court decision. They also appreciated the judge and said he was a senior man in the courts and was considered conservative. Srila Prabhupada said that he should be sent a letter of congratulations. May God bless you for such right judgment. Live long life to serve God. Honest and sincere people normally appreciate our movement, said Swarup Damodar. Only those who are envious. Envious we don't care about. Prabhupada interjected. We don't care, never care about. I didn't care. Many times, even my god brothers. Neither do I care just now. I'll go on with my work. Why care? We are doing our duty. We are doing our duty. That's all. Under the higher authoritative order. Have no fear. It is not personal gratification. So arrange for Manipur. We shall go. Swarup Damodar said he would go to Delhi and try to arrange permits for entry, but that it would be hard since most foreigners were not allowed to enter Manipur. He said that after doing his business, he would come to Bombay and see Srila Prabhupada. Now, well, very strenuously said Prabhupada, you are all young men, and somehow or other to a dead horse you have given life. The last fortnight I was thinking I was dead. I was thinking like that. Now life is finished. I can be finished at any time. That is not amazing. To live, that is amazing. My life is finished. That is not amazing. No one will lament. Oh, he was old man, 82 years old. But if I can live for some days more, that is wonderful. If I die, that is not wonderful. Krishna is wonderful, said Tamal Krishna Goswami. Krishna is wonderful always, said Prabhupada. And you are wonderful, said Bhavananda Goswami. I am wonderful, said Srila Prabhupada, as long as I serve Krishna. Otherwise, unless no value. If I can serve Krishna, then I am wonderful, certainly. Srila Prabhupada continued declaring that Krishna was the most wonderful and could do anything, that he was alive and still active, and he said, attested to Krishna's being wonderful. If Krishna is not wonderful, he said, is it possible for me to do all these things? Who am I? We don't want to become cheaply and wonderful. We want to become really wonderful by serving Krishna. That is our mission. Krishna is wonderful, undoubtedly. Who can become more powerful, wonderful than Krishna? Matta Parataram Nanyat. Always remember, Krishna is wonderful. Don't take Krishna very slightly, like one of you. That is foolishness. Krishna is wonderful always. He is the most wonderful person and he can do anything wonderful. Prabhupada continued to make appreciative remarks about the judge's decision. He said he had feared the case might have taken 14 years and yet it had not even taken 14 hours. Krishna was so wonderful. March 22nd. The senior devotees in Mayapur felt Srila Prabhupada was too ill to travel and that he should remain there and recuperate. Besides, reports from Bombay were conflicting. Shurabi Swami, knowing that Prabhupada's quarters weren't finished, wanted more time, so he wired Prabhupada, requesting him not to come. But Giriraj and others had been arranging a lecture program for Srila Prabhupada at a pandal in Azad Maidan in Bombay, and Giriraj had written inviting Prabhupada. Prabhupada considered the opportunities for preaching and decided to go. He had his secretary send a telegram from Mayapur to Bombay. Prabhupada arriving Tuesday at 1:50, have rooms ready in whatever condition. But on Prabhupada's arrival in Bombay, he was so weak that he could not walk down the steep stairs from the airplane, and airline personnel arranged for him to be lowered to the ground by hydraulic lift. Once he was on the ground, several devotees assisted him in walking. Although he appeared frail, he smiled brightly when he saw the devotees waiting for him at the airport. In the car, Srila Prabhupada inquired about the Bombay temple, and Harishauri informed him that his quarters were not yet ready, with no toilet, no running water, no doors or windows, and the workmen polishing the floor. Prabhupada dismissed these objections and said he would move in anyway. The devotees who knew the state of the building became extremely anxious. It didn't seem possible that anyone could live there, but Prabhupada said he would. Harisauri said he was surprised Prabhupada had decided to travel, and Prabhupada replied, yes, even up to the last night there was no chance of my coming. But still, somehow or other, we are here. Prabhupada was traveling and preaching because that was his life. For more than 30 years, he had been spreading the Krishna consciousness movement, first in India and then in America and throughout the world. As long as Krishna gave him even a little strength, he would continue. He wanted to hold the public lectures in the city and he wanted to observe the progress of the construction at Hare Krishna land, his grandest temple. Even though the temple was not completed, he would move in and show the devotees how to use it. As they drove up to the entrance to the Hare Krishna land, Prabhupada could see the tall towers of the ISKCON hotel and the incomplete but massive domes of the temple. These huge structures dwarfed the little shed that was the temporary residence of Sri Sri Radha Rasavihari. The deities had been in that shed since 1971, when Prabhupada had moved them there with a promise that he would build them a beautiful temple. And now, after much difficulty and struggle, that promise was soon to be fulfilled. Radha Rasavihari would soon move into one of the most gorgeous, opulent temples in India. Hare Krishna land was intense with activity as some 200 workers plied their various skills in constructing the temple hotel complex under the direction of Surabhi Swami and his assistants. A dozen men were cutting red stone slabs to cover the concrete superstructure of the hotel. Almost 50 marble workers were chipping away with hammers, making decorative columns and arches in the temple, and masons and interior finishers were working on the theater building. Much of the work was completed, yet everything still appeared bare like bones without flesh. The hotel had no windows or doors, and of 1 second. Uh, the work crews were moving quickly, concentrating especially on Sri Prabhupada's quarters on the top floor of one of the hotel towers. But even that was not ready. So Chitrakar as ordered by Surabhi Swami and Giriraj, drove Prabhupada's car past the hotel to the rear of the property to where Prabhupada usually stayed, in an apartment in one of the old tenements building. Devotees were waiting at Srila Prabhupada's tenement room in happy anticipation. They were prepared with paraphernalia to perform a foot bathing ceremony and arati, and they had spent most of the day cleaning the rooms, which were decorated with lily gardens and scented with incense. A group of devotees stood outside the building with mridanga and kartal holding kirtan, and some of the brahmacharinis were poised, ready to throw flower petals before Srila Prabhupada when he walked from his car and up the stairs. But Srila Prabhupada was in a different mood. I will never again go into this apartment, he said. Take me to my new quarters. Chitrakara repeated what Srila Prabhupada had already heard. Your quarters aren't ready yet, Srila Prabhupada. It will take a few more days to finish. Call Shurabhi Maharaj, said Srila Prabhupada. He was adamant. The devotees in the apartment and in the front in front of tenement wondered why Srila Prabhupada wasn't getting out of his car. As Chitragar was driving Prabhupada back, the hotel Surabhi came running up behind. Why are my quarters not ready? Prabhupada asked from the car window. Running to catch up, Surabhi explained that he needed a few more days and that Prabhupada could please stay at his old apartment in the meanwhile. You do what I say, shouted Prabhupada. The car stopped. If I don't go there now, Prabhupada said, still speaking loudly, it will never be finished. I want to go now. Yes, Srila Prabhupada. And Surabhi ran off to see if he could get the elevator to work. Meanwhile, the assembled devotees have heard the news, also ran to be with Prabhupada as he entered his new quarters. Prabhupada felt his time was limited, and if he was not insistent, his disciples would delay more and more. He had already been delayed for years by the landowner and the government. Even after he had purchased the land, the police commissioner had remarked that the kirtan was a nuisance and had delayed construction for months by denying the no objection certificate. But despite so many delays, Prabhupada had persisted and won. No, he wouldn't go back to the old place. Now the new Bombay temple should come to life. Now that he had come. The elevator didn't work. The devotees therefore carried Prabhupada in a palanquin up the stairs to fifth floor's apartment. The place was cluttered and the floor was covered with the thick, greasy marble polish the workers were using. The dozen workers present were confused. Why was their work being interrupted? The devotees rushed in and with drums, kartals, and arti paraphernalia, but just stood around, not knowing what to do. The room was bare with no furniture, desk, or sitting place. Srila Prabhupada, however, looked around at the chaotic scene and said, I am going to sit down here. A devotee took off a woolen chadar and placed it on the floor in an isolated dry part of the room, and Srila Prabhupada sat down. Now you can do what you like, he said. While some of the devotees began washing the floor, others ran to find serviceable pieces of furniture to provide Prabhupada with a desk, seat, and bed. Shurabhi Swami nervously bathed Prabhupada's feet and then offered arati while a devotee sang Sri Guru Charana Padma and trying not to slip on the greasy floor. Surveying the scene with a satisfied look, Srila Prabhupada smiled broadly and said, Thank you very much. When the welcome function was complete, Srila Prabhupada was left alone with his secretaries. He said his quarters were to his liking. He spent the night there, but the next day agreed to move for a week to the home of Mr. Kartikeya Mahadevia. For a week, he would attend the Bombay Pandal program, which was near Mr. Mahadevia's home, and this would give Shrabi Swami enough time to get the quarters ready. Srila Prabhupada could not stand and walk without assistance. From Mr. Mahadevia's house, the devotees would carry him in a palanquin to the car. From the car, they would carry him to the room behind the Pandal lecture platform, and from there onto the stage, where Bhavananda Goswami would help him onto the Vyasasan. compared to the former Pandal festivals where sometimes 30,000 people had gathered in one evening. This one was small with only about 1,000 attending nightly. The main reason for such a small turnout was that India had just held an election and people were absorbed in politics. On March 22nd, after the Congress party had been defeated in the House of Parliament, Prime Minister Indira Gandhi had resigned. Within a day or two, a new Prime Minister would be selected from the Janata Party. Many Bombaites who might otherwise have attended the Pandal lecture were caught up in hearing the news, attending rallies, or talking about the national politics and the full fall of Indira Gandhi. But the small crowd that attended was very interested. Prabhupada was not disappointed. Srila Prabhupada spoke, and his faint voice was amplified over the sound system. Bhavananda Swami will recite 2 or 3 verses from Srimad Bhagavatam, he said, which is the theme of our Krishna consciousness movement. The first verse began with Taravaha Kim na Jivanti. Do the trees not live? Bhavananda recited loudly. Do the bellows of a blacksmith not breathe? All around us, do the beasts not eat and discharge semen? He read Srila Prabhupada's purport and then read the next verse. Men who are like dogs, hawks, camels, and ass praise those men who never listen to the transcendental pastimes of Lord Krishna, the deliverer from evils. After Bhavananda finished reading the long purport to that verse, Srila Prabhupada began his lecture. He explained how the spirit soul changes bodies life after life, but admitted that people are generally unaware of this simple fact. But at least in India, he said, this condition should now be changed. Not everyone would be able to realize the spiritual knowledge, but at least there should be an ideal institution. And that, he said, was the purpose of the Krishna consciousness movement to create ideal Brahmanas who could guide and instruct the rest of the society. Not from so called politicians, said Srila Prabhupada. This is Indian civilization. Formerly, even Lord Ramachandra, who was the king, he is God himself. Still, he used to consult the learned Brahmanas, sages, and saintly persons for governmental duties. The divisions of society must be there. There are so many things to be done in the Krishna consciousness movement. Don't take that it is simply chanting Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna chanting is the prime factor because if you chant Hare Krishna Maha Mantra, then gradually everything will be cleared in your mind. Prabhupada told how he had overcome opposition in America and how the people there were taking Krishna consciousness seriously. When he stated his plan for a combination of American money and Indian culture, the people applauded. The real thing is knowledge, Srila Prabhupada concluded. So don't keep this knowledge locked up in your books, but spread it. My only request is that the leaders of India should now come forward and join this movement and take this advantage of doing good to the whole world. Thank you very much. The audience applause swelled into a sustained ovation. Prabhupada's voice had been weak, his body almost motionless, but he had projected a power that had overcome those bodily limitations. His presence was, in fact, more commanding than ever. His energy was obviously the pure energy of the soul, transcendental to the bodily condition. Giriraj Swami called for questions, inviting people to come up and speak into a microphone in front of the stage. A woman, isn't spiritual life very taxing? Prabhupada, do you think that you are not being taxed? Why should you not be taxed for proper gain? You are being taxed for so many nonsense things. Why not be taxed for proper thing? That is intelligence. As Prabhupada answered the questions, he became more and more forceful, although he remained very still, not even moving his hand. His answers were not as lengthy as usual. He seemed to be saving his energy, but he delivered each answer with intense emphasis and conviction. A well dressed, middle aged Indian man stepped forward and asked, Swamiji, what is the importance of health in life? And how do you advise people to maintain health? And how does it connect to your mission? Prabhupada, what is health? First of all, you have to understand that however healthy you may be, you must die. So, what problem will you have solved? Janma Mrityu Jara Vyadi Dukkha Doshanudarshanam. Krishna says, it is not my manufacturing. Uh, it is not my manufacturing. Although you may try to remain very healthy, nature's law is that you must die. How can you help yourself? After all, you have to meet death. So long as you have got this material body, there is no question of health. You must suffer. You may be a very great scientist, but nature's law must act. Prakriti Kremanani, foolish persons bewildered by false egotism think, I am improving my health, I am improving this. He is improving nothing. He is completely under the clutches of material nature. He can't act anything independently. That is the law of nature. Another man asked if Prabhupada could solve political problems with this religious basis. Yes, Prabhupada replied, all problems will be solved when we become Krishna conscious. What is the simple solution to understand the soul? Another man asked. I would like to understand the soul. This is very simple, Srila Prabhupada replied. But you are educated so foolishly that you cannot understand. Srila Prabhupada explained briefly that the body is made of material elements, but there is a superior element anyone can understand. He said, everything is explained in the Bhagavad Gita, but people are not serious to understand. The morning after the first Pandal lecture, Srila Prabhupada sat with Kartikeya Mahadeviya, Tamala Krishna Goswami, and Bhavananda Goswami. Ever since Prabhupada's extreme weakness of health had occurred in Mayapur, he would often sit for hours alone and sit silent. When he spoke, his voice was often hoarse or faint, but otherwise his conversation was as it had always been, completely Krishna conscious. In fact, Srila Prabhupada was becoming increasingly strong in his uncompromising criticism of the Mudhas who do not accept Krishna as the supreme personality of Godhead. He was condemning materialistic civilization, calling it a dog civilization or an anthill civilization. A dog runs in on four legs, a human being runs on four wheels. But if he doesn't know the meaning of life, then he is not no better than the dog. Both humans and ants build tall edifices. But if a man doesn't know of the soul and of Krishna, then despite his proud skyscrapers, his civilization is no more than a glorified anthill. If more visitors come, Prabhupada said, I shall describe all this anthill civilization health nonsense. What health? He'll be kicked out immediately. Prabhupada was referring to the man's question from the Pandal. Who is healthy if he is going to die? Prabhupada asked. I am so healthy that I am going to die tomorrow. This is their health. Almost every one of those questions, said Tamal Krishna Goswami, was about the body. Prabhupada. Krishna says, Nahanyate hanyamani sharire, that is healthy. When you do not die, although the body is destroyed, that is healthy life. What is this healthy life? The body is finished and everything. Actually, everyone is not finished, but people are kept in that ignorance. They think the body is finished and then everything is finished, but that is not the fact. Krishna very clearly said, Najayate mreteva kadachin. If you do not question, then how is it possible? But that is the most important question. The soul never takes birth and never dies. Bhagavad Gita 2022 220. Prabhupada mentioned that despite the United Nations World Health Organization, still everyone was going to die. Where is the health? He asked. Such foolish things are going on all over the world. So introduct, in, organize, so organize. Introduce reality to them and spread it, slow but sure. So we shouldn't be impatient and compromise, said Tamal Krishna Goswami. Just be popular. There is no question of becoming impatient, said Srila Prabhupada. You have got a diamond. If there is no buyer of the diamond, that doesn't mean you have to throw it away. You must know that here is a diamond. If I want it, I must pay the proper price that I want to establish. Why India's culture should be lost in this way? I am not a cheap patriot. I want to give Indian culture to the whole world. I am not going to cheat people taking Bhagavad Gita and speak all nonsense. I want to present Bhagavad Gita as it is. That is my mission. Why should I cheat you? We will try to follow your message properly, said Mr. Mahadevya. Why should India's big culture be lost for the matter of these rascal leaders? Said Prabhupada. They should be stopped. Krishna consciousness is all inclusive. Just like the economic question, Annad Bhavati Bhutani. Krishna says grow food. It is practical. But when I was traveling, I saw millions of clerks coming to get education. And who is growing the food? Then these clerks have to be provided in these pigeonholes and depend on ration. Is that civilization? Throngs of people are coming. They are coming like ants. And when you go to the village, it is all vacant. No one is interested to produce food. Everyone is interested to live in the city in these pigeonholes and go to the cinema, the brothel, go to the club, learn how to drink, how to become gentlemen. Is that civilization? The human aim of life is lost. You do not know why you are going to the office, why you are eating. They are keeping humanity in an animal mentality or doggish mentality. University education is a doggish mentality. The dog wags his tail as soon as you give him some food. Oh yes, said Mr. Mahadevya. For application for a job, there are 5 jobs and 5 dozen people apply. Is that education? Said Prabhupada. Better not to be educated. Those who are not educated, they can purchase 5 rupees worth of potatoes and sit down anywhere. After spending so much money living at a cost of fathers and mothers, they have no job and no food. Then they plan some political party, Naxalite or this or that party and join political movement and help Indira Gandhi. You are paid to make propaganda. But all that has vanished now, said Mr. Mahadevya. That plan has failed completely. Like many other Indians, Mr. Mahadevya was hopeful that with a new election conditions would be improving. No, said Prabhupada. Another one will come. This unemployment is there. When I was a child, we were purchasing mustard oil for 3 annas, and now it is selling for 13 rupees per kilo. Will a change of government bring this 13 rupees to 3 annas? Then what is the benefit? Stool is stool, whether you take it from the top side or the bottom side. A few devotees entered the room and sat, while Prabhupada encouraged them all in preaching. He said that people could not get relief through government, but through Krishna consciousness. Krishna and his devotees were for everyone, not for a particular nation or person. The people are in darkness, said Prabhupada, and the politicians are keeping them like dogs, hogs, and camels, taking a vote from them and becoming a leader. Nobody protested last night. However, that I called all men dogs, hogs, and camels. No one came forward and said, "You are using very strong words," because it is all a fact. They especially liked your idea, said Hridayananda Goswami, of American money and Indian culture. They applauded for that. Yes, that is my mission, said Prabhupada. I am doing that. I am bringing money from America. Nobody is paying me. This is not a joke. 10 lakhs of rupees. Who else brings? Even big export companies don't bring so much, said Gopalakrishna. And they will be glad, said Prabhupada. They have got money and they are getting culture. I am trying for United Nations. That is the real attempt, not this United Nations, all rogues and thieves and cheaters, barking dogs. I am trying for real United Nations. Let us cooperate together. Srila Prabhupada's disciples rallied to hear him speak like this, and they resolved to somehow counteract the forces of ignorance through Krishna consciousness. He said they should proceed slowly but surely, just as he had done. He had been humbly loitering on the streets of New York, and before that he had been living alone in Radha Damodar temple. But now there was Bombay temple, a palace that would be crowded with thousands of guests to see the deities and attend cultural programs. Do it enthusiastically, said Srila Prabhupada. You are all young men. Our enthusiasm is coming from you. Srila Prabhupada said, Tamal Krishna, our enthusiasm is coming from you, Srila Prabhupada, said Tamal Krishna. I am old man, said Prabhupada faintly, but the devotees didn't accept that. Srila Prabhupada was Navayavana, spiritually ever fresh. I would stop here. Yes. Done. Good. I hope I'm saving uh, others to make a note. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Anyone would like to share? How was it? What inspired?
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. To me, I think, in spite of all the health challenges other people note, and Prabhupada is, pushing his, devotees to ensure that they complete things at least for, in the health condition was very, very impressive, Prabhuji. I don't know, maybe this is, we rarely find this kind of, you know, uh, staunchness in today's world, but I don't know if there are any Swamiji, no, at least outside ISKCON, I'm saying, I don't know. But
Yeah, we can see we can see how things are going, right?
yes,
I'm not sure what is the fact, but I came across what is that? There was stampede that
Stampede.
happened.
Mhm.
There were around 100 people or 150 people were
Yes, Roji,
killed, right?
mhm.
Hatrasa, right?
Uh,
Anyone read this?
What was
There
that,
was
Prabhuji? 50 people?
there was a stampering that happened. Yeah, so a lot of people. I mean,
Tampering.
around 100. Yeah.
What is it?
Like in a crowd. Yeah, when there was so much, what do you call, huge crowd that can't be handled, and then people stamp on each other, and
Oh, okay.
injure, and even because of this, people may die. People die in the killing. So there were around 120 people who died. In the news, I mean, you can check. And you know what? The Baba who was the cause, right? I mean, not the cause, whose program was there for which all this tampering happened. Bole Baba. So he left. Yeah, he disappeared. Hmm.
Which part, Prabhuji, of India?
Oh, I didn't
In
space. So
north or
yeah, north.
uh, 120 people died. Oh, okay.
120 plus. Yeah.
So there must be a lot of huge crowd there. I mean,
Yeah. Huge crowd, uncontrolled. Yeah, went out of control. So anyway, coming back, Prabhupada, yeah, I would see a lot of dynamism. There is nothing like, okay, what would you do after 50 years? Adhirasa Prabhu, typical. Yeah, I think, by the time 50 years, what others do, yeah, I do the same. They will be finishing their kids' education, getting married done. They might start their retirement. No, Prabhupada was not thinking, he was not thinking a pre-planned, like this is how it will be. Yeah, he's wonderful. Wonderful means spontaneity. It's not like a, what do you call this, stereotype. Prabhupada was dynamic in his thought, in his approach. Yeah, this part of the session we read was about a court case. What was it? ISKCON is Hare Krishna movement is a bona fide religion. That when I read this, yeah, it kept on to my mind where one of my colleague, he was saying, hey, he's not Hindu, he's ISKCON. ISKCON is a different religion. Yeah, This is what even in the US we see. Yeah, it's a recognized even a bona fide religion.
Yes, Prabhuji, and we also heard Jayadvaita Maharaj traveled in second class in a
Hmm.
train. I think I don't know. Dinath Prabhu also sent a photo, Prabhuji. So
Yeah,
all
it
that
was
there. Yeah.
Omkareshwar Prabhu. Hmm.
Oh, yeah. And still they are continuing, Prabhuji, because ISKCON was different when Prabhupada was there. Now it is different, but still they are maintaining the simple living, high thinking philosophy, Prabhuji. Very, very
Yeah.
impressive.
Yeah, I mean,